Hello and welcome to the Decibel Boost Podcast, the official music podcast of the website Surreal Resolution. I'm your host Robert, and man, Venezuela has a lot of black metal bands, doesn't it? And with me I have...
Okay, let me just type this text out to all my worst enemies. I lived, bitch.
And...
Can we bring back the Drake Pusha T beef, cause this Eminem MGK beef is...
Ooh.
I have not been paying attention to that because I'm still mad that Eminem released a crap album, which you can hear all about in the Decibel Boost August album roundup, now available on surrealresolution.com. Gotta plug, do that brand synergy thing. Plus, that's some of our finest riffing material in this whole 2-year existence, which, it has been almost 2 years, hasn't it?
Yep.
Think about exactly.
Yeah. And we're almost to episode 100.
It's like we're in this weird, temporal month of celebration, because the podcast technically started, first week of September 2 years ago, so we've already passed that anniversary, and then next week is the 2-year anniversary of the site itself, and then the week after that is going to be the 100th episode, so, just festivities all around. There's balloons everywhere. Gifts for days. There's way too much cake. Seriously, guys, Mark can't eat all that cake. It's just sitting there in the fridge. He can't fit any more in there.
I'm full health. It's chocolate. So much chocolate.
It's like...
Chocolate cake!
Chocolate!
Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
Oh! Yes.
It's a nightmare hellscape of bright pastel colors and frosting. But I'm going on a tangent at this point. But yeah, we're not quite there yet. We're just at episode 98. So, as always, we start with the formalities. So, Alex, how did the hurricane treat you?
All things considered, not a lot happened in my area. I'm very fortunate for that. We did get anywhere from 7 to 12 inches of rain in parts of the city, but as far as flooding goes, nothing too serious. Only just a couple of downed power lines and trees and traffic lights. Nothing too bad. I was actually fortunate enough to stay in the hotel I work at to ride out the storm.
Ooh, very nice.
Until they kicked me out on Sunday because I guess they decided, it's starting to wind down. You all can go home. And I was supposed to stay until Monday.
Getting cut off on such short notice.
Yeah, and that would have helped because on Sunday evening, I went to another hotel where my mother works because she had her room with all of our cats there, and I stayed there for the night. And it was not only very stuffy in that hotel, but there were dogs all over, and that caused my allergies to really act up, and that caused me to have a really, really bad asthma attack all night long.
Ew.
So I went to urgent care. They gave me a nebulizer treatment and a steroid shot in the ass.
Ow. I have several questions.
On the meat of it.
That's not the question I had in mind.
Well, it was either going to be a shot or a pill, and I couldn't swallow any pills, so it had to be a shot. Though I will say it hurts a lot less than the scratches I get from my cats.
Okay.
It's standard medical procedure, okay?
But
other than
asthma is I assume that's relative to the chest and throat, so why an injection in the glutes?
It was a steroid shot.
Yeah, but what the hell does that have to do with... I'm not even going to bother pressing this. Fucking medical industry, man.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, I got my medicine. I'm taking some steroid pills and some Singulair to help clear out all the crap in my throat and in my chest. Which, that's always fun. But on the plus side, see if you can hear this. That's a Guitar Hero controller. I bought it to play Clone Hero on my computer, and it works pretty well.
Well, I mean, I would hope so. It's the controller designed to actually play the game the way it was meant to be played.
Yeah, it's just a Wii controller, which means I had to do some mapping and some driver installation. It was a big process, but I made it work. I made it work pretty well. And I'm getting better every day. It's become my chill-out game.
Oh yeah, they did put that game on the Wii. That was fucking weird.
Yeah, I actually bought a copy of World Tour at GameStop because it was like $3. Oh my god, the calibration's awful.
Yeah, I figured as much. But anyway, Mark, what about you?
Let's see. Copy and paste last week. There you go.
That sounds about right.
Ain't no shit, because I always say that, because, yeah, it happens.
Don't worry, I'm sure some exciting adventures will happen your way. Like maybe your car will break down and then you'll have a story.
Like me!
Oh, yeah.
That was horrible. I apologize. Sort of. Anyway, as for me, not really much going on my end. Just a chill weekend, although I did get a little more money than I was expecting in my hands, so I took advantage of, decided to splurge on myself at some games. Got the Yakuza 6 Song of Life Essence of Art Edition, Dead Cells on Switch, and I finally got me some Spider-Man. Yay, Spider-Man! Which I'll probably get to as soon as I finish clearing through the Kirby games on this collection. I'm about halfway through it right now. Now I gotta do Dreamland 3 and then 64. Crystal Shards. And then I'll understand about 30% of the Kirby catalog, it seems like. I know there's probably a whole bunch of other stuff on, like, handhelds and shit. Although I have heard that Star Allies thing is okay, so... But yeah, that's basically about all that's been going on my end. Everything's just been, like, super chill and just same old as usual. Routines and everything. They can be comforting sometimes. But anyway, let's get into the meat of this podcast. And for those who are wondering if there's no news this week, there is no news. It's just all music. It's been a while since we've had one of these kinds of episodes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say though, we got a pretty good batch of music here. Not a whole lot of big stinkers, at least to me.
Oh, but there are like one or two. In fact, by the way, the new songs this week, playlist down in the description so you can follow along with what we're talking about. So let's actually open up with the big stinker this week. So we're about a month out from the next big Call of Duty release, Black Ops 4. For you people who want your multiplayer sandbox shooters and nothing else, and apparently also Battle Royale because reasons.
Just play Fortnite, you plebs.
I heard you could download that for free on the Switch.
Yes, you can.
Which means you could play it on the toilet, instead of playing Call of Duty, which belongs in a toilet. That's going to be the wittiest thing I say all month, probably. But yeah, of course, with a new COD game, that means a new theme song, courtesy of Avenged Sevenfold, who, in fact, this Friday are putting out an EP called Black Rain, which actually compiles their themes for the Black Ops sub-series into one convenient disc that you can chuck into an oven.
Wait. This is called Black Rain?
Yes.
Okay. Obscure reference time. I'm going to make John happy with this one. To quote one OSW review, Yum, 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 yum. That's the theme to Black Rain, the former wrestler in TNA. And Mike, just look it up. It's fantastic.
You're gonna have to send me a clip of that later.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it probably sounds a hell of a lot better than this song here, the theme for Black Ops 4, Mad Hatter, which, I've only ever played the first Black Ops game. Like, that and Modern Warfare 2 are my only Call of Duty games I've ever touched. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but are all their themes like this? Because it seems like it's a little bit too steady, mid-tempo, and kind of ballady to be like, a theme song for angry white boys with their beanies, camo shirts, and Mountain Dew to, like, go around shooting people. I mean, the riff construction is like the same deal as it is with a lot of Avenged Sevenfold, alternating between like just chugging rhythms and those hammer-on pull-off, like, noodle bits just chugged in there. All throughout, like, the fucking riffs, like the verses and choruses. There is like a bridge that starts off a clean solo part that extends into some shreddier shit during the third verse and everything. Drums are average, it's about what you would expect with those weird, like, cymbal accentuations and sticking patterns and everything. I don't know, man. Like, this is pretty much why I don't pay attention to Avenged Sevenfold anymore. Who cares?
Yeah, the songs that they've done for the Call of Duty games have always felt like I'll just say, B-side outtakes. Not their best work, but I will say the cover art for this album is ugly. It's like a weird mashup of God of War, Overwatch, and Fortnite with a really hack comic strip artist doing it.
Hey, Crash Thompson, we got a suggestion for your next bad album covers video.
I was thinking that too. as for the song, it's okay, it's competent, but it's just sort of there, Not really the best kind of representation of Avenged Sevenfold for Call of Duty games, but if you want a really good video game metal EP tie-in, God of War, Blood and Metal. Fantastic release.
Yes, this is true. Plus, it soundtracks games that I'd actually rather be playing.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on from that to some more Tim Hecker here, coming back in a couple weeks with his newest full-length album, Konoyo. And this time we have a track called Keyed Out, which I'm pretty sure is about exactly as long as the last track we got from him.
Yep.
Actually, I think that one was 9 minutes. This is nearly 10 minutes. And yes, it sounds exactly like a Tim Hecker song that goes on for that long. It more or less like repeatedly vamps on like a couple varied synth lines. Like the first one being this thick, like very bass heavy synth that like drones on and it like cuts off at a lot of odd intervals, eventually like morphing into this more shiny shimmering synthly that gets really punctuated by like these metallic scraping pierces. Like it almost kind of sounds like someone is like like if you recorded the sound of someone keying your car and tried to turn that into music. And then, of course, like, as it goes on in the middle, there's sort of, like, these additional percussive elements, like, just kind of hanging around in the background. Some of that Japanese percussive, like, drum stuff. It kind of gets buried a bit in, like, the very crystalline synths. But overall, this is, it's Tim Hecker. It's all droning and weird, offbeat sounds, and it's all cool as fuck, man.
Funny you mentioned Japanese stuff because it says that he recorded for Tokyo Gatsu, an ensemble that plays some Japanese classic music. But yeah, this was something you hear at a Japanese or J horror movie or anime, whatever. Like when you for the first time or a few couple times, like you get that haunting sound of someone's in the house and either I should look outside or stay inside. I should stay inside. Music's getting more creepy. Please help. basically that type of shit.
Oh, come on. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Popoko and Pee Pee Me are gonna show up? But yeah, I'm pretty sure I mentioned the Japanese stuff before. I just was blanking on like the specifics of genre. Probably should have made a note of that. Or looked back on my notes earlier. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this album. And now, while we're on the motif of keys, Fucked Up, coming out with newest album, Dose Your Dreams, October 5th. We had the first two singles, and now we have this third one here, House of Keys. And, it opens, oh boy, synthesizer intro that actually feels kind of slow in comparison to the actual song and everything. Segues weirdly, like, into a rapid drum roll and then to some pretty, like, straightforward guitar riffing that sounds as, like, classic punk as it gets. But it also, maybe it's because of the production, but the riffing sounds like very, like, it's deliberately chopped up in the mix. Almost kind of like if you took, like, Clash or Thrice and like chopped up the riffs and put some hardcore vocals over it. Unfortunately, there's nothing, it's not incompetent, but there's nothing really memorable about this track except for like some of the synthetic elements and parts. It's all just kind of there, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't really do much for me. It's just not on that musical wow factor level for me. It's still pretty good, competently written, and there's an interesting concept to the whole project, but for me it just doesn't do a whole lot, so meh.
This sounds like it's probably going to be one of the filler tracks, unfortunately. Just calling it right now. Moving on from that, so it looks like the metalcore act Architects are back in the game. 2 years after the unfortunate passing of founding guitarist Tom Searle, we have their latest full-length album, Holy Hell, announced for a November 9th release. And so, of course, we have the lead-off song, Hereafter, and, it just sounds like more Architects, I guess. The clean vocal intro, auto-tune, synths, and everything. The guitars have those thick, meaty chugs, like, pretty much like musical chili, basically. The chorus has, like, these sort of sparse grooves, these screamed vocals that kind of have, like, these slight undercurrents of, like, guitar melodies with additional clean vocals underneath there. It's basically just a whole bunch of that. Have you heard any Architects album before? Congratulations, you can probably figure out where this one's going.
I'll be more complimentary and say this is something that kind of grabbed my attention right off the bat. It sounds pretty genty in parts, and I'm all about that. There's a real strong metalcore feeling groove to it, and me listening to it, it didn't really regress over time. I'll say it's incredibly solid, and it's got my attention for their upcoming album. It might not be anything too special to others, but something I'll give a listen to.
And speaking of stuff that has my attention, so also coming out November 9th, there is this project, because, people love projects like covers albums and shit. This one called The Wall Redux. Redux in brackets, like it's adult swim text. But yes, if you're wondering, The Wall in question is, of course, the ever so seminal Pink Floyd classic that we've all heard millions of times before and watched the movie once before saying, what the fuck is this? It's not that good of a movie. But, of course, classic album. I love it. Alex probably loves it. Some of you listening to this probably love it as well. So, a lot of bands, covering all these tracks, and, compilation stuff like this happens all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure there's been a couple releases where, like, sludge metal bands cover Nirvana albums, like track for track, the whole album is one band per track and everything. So, for the track we're talking about here, we have a cover of Run Like Hell, which, if you remember in the track list, immediately follows Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. And, who exactly is, covering this, track, you might be wondering? Well, it's none other than the lads in Pallbearer.
Nice.
And immediately you think, okay, that actually sounds like a pretty interesting match. They're pretty sludgy and heavy, but they kind of have like this hopeful, proggy atmosphere that almost calls to mind some classic Floyd. So, this got to sound good and, right in their ballpark. Well, hang on. Because, this one threw me for a loop, and I had to double take twice to make sure I had the right track, because as soon as it opens, it's galloping chugged triplets, like, and at a pretty fast tempo, like, pretty much faster than the original Pink Floyd song, hell of a lot faster than any Pallbearer track I've ever heard. In fact, when you're listening to it, it sounds more like Pallbearer covering Iron Maiden, covering Pink Floyd, than it necessarily does like Pallbearer just covering Pink Floyd. You do get like that main like melody thing, like over top, those brief spurts of the lead guitar melody, like over top, like the the chugging guitars and whatnot. And there is a point like where the momentum like slows down and the tempo feels more like what you would expect of like a Pallbearer cover of a Pink Floyd track, especially with the layers of reverb, heavy vocals, and everything. Oh, and there's a shred solo in this too. Look, I know theoretically I'm supposed to like this, and it's not necessarily awful or anything, but when you really try to put this in your head, Pallbearer covering Pink Floyd, this just sounds really bizarrely off. And, you know, I don't want to say that, but I have to be honest here. It's just weird, man.
You know, I dug it. It is a little weird considering this is Pallbearer we're talking about, but, you know, as a concept, I'm interested in this whole The Wall redo album, but just don't touch Wish You Were Here because that album is perfect. Yeah, the song, fueled by the almighty riff with that galloping tempo, and it's interesting. It gives the song an interesting new angle to it, one that's always welcomed when a band does a cover song. I'd much rather like it when they add their own twist to it and don't just make it a carbon copy. It's an interesting cover at the very least.
Well, we're moving on from the realm of rock and metal now to some R&B jams. Ooh. Starting off here with this fellow Khalid, who maybe you've heard of him. Maybe he's been maybe getting like a tiny bit of buzz from some hipster cool blogs and stuff. You know, bubbling under the ground, you could say. But yeah, he just finished up a pretty major tour, so of course he gifts the world with a new song titled Better. And, you know, I'm still, like, blanking on much of the Khalid output, however much he has, so I don't really know how this stacks up in the grand scheme of things. I just know that it's okay. You know, the piano beat, with the rumbling bass synths, the finger snaps, and the trap drums, you know, it all sounds pretty solid, and, you know, overall, like, I'll give Khalid this. He's actually a pretty good R&B singer, all things considered. I certainly enjoy this a hell of a lot more than I enjoy, like, most of the Weeknd's output. You know, the guy really can exude, like, romance instead of nasally annoyance, but, again, don't really know much about the guy in general, so you have to take this with a grain of salt.
So, yeah, the track is pretty good. Like, I know little about Khalid aside from a few features he's been on, but yeah, this track is pretty groovy, pretty central. Like, this the song that you put on the woo your lover or somebody you want to get with? Like, you get vocals like this. You say we're just friends, but I swear when nobody's around, you keep your arm around your neck to connect. Oh, you feel it now, Mr. Krabs? Damn.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
And I fucked that up.
Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
But yeah, the track is pretty solid. And yeah, that's all I got.
I'll just chime in and say this track is great. It's like a modernized R&B slow jam, and growing up listening to a lot of that as a kid, oh yeah, I'm all for that. Excellent work.
And speaking of R&B slow jams, oh, look who decided to show up here. It's Joji.
Ooh.
You know, when he's not doing hot wing shit with Rich Brian and Sean Evans.
And congrats to Joji by making it onto YouTube's trending section by not killing himself for once.
Thank God for that.
You can take yourself out of this existential nightmare. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Yeah.
Damn. Anyway, so we have this, I don't know if he's got another project in the pipeline. I think he does, but I'm not sure much about it yet. But we do have this single here, Slow Dancing in the Dark. And if you've heard, like, his beats and everything, this one sounds like, you know, another Joji song instrumentally. It's all that twinkling, you know, ascending piano melody that kind of alternates between, like, a simple, almost kind of lullaby-ish sort of thing and something that's more, like, rapid and complex with these dreamlike synths underneath. And, you know, it sounds pretty solid, but what really makes this song is, like, Joji himself. Normally, he's a pretty low-key, sort of one of those moaner type of R&B singers, but on this one, like, he really, like, he goes to town, especially when he's just belting out on that chorus. You just feel, like, the emotions of it and everything. It fucking, like, it is a hard gut punch, and, like, it just fucking sounds great. God damn, son.
So you asked me, am I feeling it now with this song? Yeah, I fucking felt it. Like, damn, Joji just dumb brought it in this joint. It's in the video especially. It's video is visually visually great, especially where like you want to like he's been stabbed or like especially near the end where it's like, oh, I've been stabbed and shit, like no, like yeah, it's very dark and shit.
He's also got goat legs.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so with those good vibes out of the way, let's talk about some fucking shit. And of course, this fucking shit features what else but Gucci Mane and Kodak Black.
Oh, hell.
With a healthy dose of Bruno Mars, apparently. It's like, dude, what are you doing here? Don't you have more dignity than this now? This seems like the kind of decision you would make back in the 2010s, back when you sucked. But yeah, these three fellows are teaming up on a track, Wake Up in the Sky, which may or may not be appearing on a new Gucci Mane album, but I don't care. All you need to know is, again, like, I bring up, like, the early days of Bruno, because for some reason, like, his vocal performance on this sounds more like Grenade, or, like, whatever the fuck that B.O.B. track was that he was on. This sounds like when he first broke out, and it's just, like, it's almost like the bad memories just, like, rushing back all at once. What the hell does throwing your hand on a blade mean? Fucking, what the...
I don't know.
Whatever. And yeah, like, there's not only that, but the fact that Gucci and Kodak cannot sing, especially Kodak.
Oh, God.
And they all get verses where they're doing, like, singing shit. And, nothing about it is exceptionally memorable, when it's not getting on your nerves. The only memorable thing is, like, there's one kinda okay pun in there where Gucci's like, I got Scottish girls Russian on me. Sadly, that's about it. That's good. Probably like the only clever line I've ever heard from Gucci's career. Other than that, this is all just like a whole bunch of why.
I bought this song for a reason, and yeah, you see why. Because when I saw this pairing of Gucci, Bruno, and Kodak Black, especially Kodak Black, like why? And the thing with Kodak, like yeah, his first thing shit, but. It's shit. Well, yeah, it's shit. But you don't sound like usually Nelly sound like he don't sound like you don't sound like you don't sound like he got a root canal. It's like he sound clearer. Still ain't good, but yeah.
Well, think about it like this, Mark. Maybe next time you'll think twice about reminding me of that godforsaken nerd song. You know the one. Anyway, let's move on from that and steer back into some rock for a minute. Yes, the lads in Smashing Pumpkins have finally unveiled the details of their upcoming 3/4 of a reunion album, because we can't have Darcy Retzky there now, can we? She'll probably reveal some embarrassing and true shit about Billy being a douche. As if his misbegotten wrestling adventures didn't reveal that already. And his Alex Jones appearance as well.
I will say, in regards to the wrestling stuff, yeah, he's been kind of busy, owning the National Wrestling Alliance, but he did sanction the biggest NWA World Title match in over 25 years this month at All In, so, credit where it's due.
Why do you know these things?
Because television is terrible and I need to find something to watch.
Okay, alright. But yes, so the reunion sort of album has been announced for November 16th, called Shiny and Oh So Bright Volume 1 LP, No Past, No Future, No Sun. Jeez, the titling on this thing is so clunky, it makes Coheed and Cambria sound right to the point.
You know what it's missing? Ellipses, just balls.
I don't get it.
Rocked, Simple Plan.
Why the fuck would I know anything about Simple Plan? I don't have
don't
that
you
much
watch
lack
Luke's
of
reviews?
Dignity. Jeez. Anyway, so we had a song a while back, Solara, which was meh, and this time we have a song called Silvery Sometimes, parentheses Ghosts, and, on the first thought I thought, this doesn't seem too bad. This definitely is on the sappier end of Smashing Pumpkins jams, like, that really, like, slicked up guitar work that's all sits between, like, clean and kind of overdriven, it sounds, the lyrics are, lyrics and, guitar melodies are all they sound mournful and all nostalgic, longing for a better time in the past. Who knows, maybe the time in the past in question is a year with a particular date. Maybe 79 perhaps. And yeah, that's basically all I got from this, is that it feels like this track is trying to ape off the same sense of nostalgic melancholy as something like 1979, which, to be fair, is still a true classic that even through all of Billy Corgan's douchebaggery still holds up as a classic jam. But, this song just kind of makes me wish I was listening to that instead.
Yeah. I'll just say that the song is, again, it's okay. It's solid and straightforward alternative rock, and that's about as much as I've got. It's just a song that's there in the spectrum.
Indeed. And so let's move on to just a couple random Lucy tracks we have here. First off, good old Health Food Maker's Health. Still no news on our new album yet. Come on, quit making me beg. Just dropped like a one-off track featuring the vocalist from a separate group called Soccer Mommy, and this one is called Mass Grave. And my main takeaway from this is that it feels slightly less processed than your typical Health track. I mean, don't get me wrong, it comes out of the gate with like really heavy synths and, those main Health vocals, but the vocal track from Health feels like it's relatively less processed, sounding more natural with less of that weird like haughty filtration over it. When the rest of the instrumentation kicks in, there's other like synth accentuations, these minor bursts of percussion, and mainly when the guest vocals kick in, the synth kind of drops back a bit into a more concise singular track. The rest of the instrumentation eventually kicks in and keeps a consistent presence. And yeah, there's our, some digitized vocals in there as well. And when it all kicks in, it all feels very, it's layered. It comes at you in like waves. Like, it's a song that aesthetically just like washes over you. It's, it's vibe music essentially. And where's that new album? Come on.
Not what I was expecting from a band called Health, which they were most famously destroying everything in their path on the Eric Andre show.
Here to cook some health food for us. Health. I guess that makes sense.
But, yeah, this is some very laid back and chill music when you hear the arrangements. I can dig it.
Yeah, like this some chill music. The video, on the hand, will make you frighten some motherfuckers. You see all these damn skulls and damn. And I'm like,
yeah, just fucking skulls everywhere. It looks like every YouTube atheist ever.
And I like how, like, when they do a press, they said the band said the annals of music history are not filled with a rich tradition of trios. They mentioned Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, Lennon, McCartney, and that other guy, and now Sucker Mommy, that one guy from Purity Ring and Health. Hey, it's that long-ass name. Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And since it seems like we're all in an Adult Swim mood right now, let's of course talk about week 2 of the 2018-2019 Adult Swim singles program. And of course, Dawn's back. Gotta get it, set the stage, because the Adult Swim Festival's happening in a few weeks. And we don't know if this one will be on her upcoming album, but it probably stands to reason that it might. I mean, why would she record this if it wasn't going to appear anywhere else? So we have the track Dreamer here. And if we're talking about stuff that kind of like strips things down a little, this certainly would be it. Because, all the previous singles we've gotten from her, especially in Adult Swim territory, have often been like very slickly produced, all advanced, futuristic sounding sort of things. But this one is on the more ballady end of the Dawn spectrum. You have this delicate piano intro with these tweeting, swirling synths that are very stripped back because it more or less allows all the focus to be drawn on Dawn's ever excellent vocal performance. And yeah, there's some synthetic accentuations, but, you know, it's never overwhelming. Hell, even the chorus on this thing is basically just like a super, like, minimal percussive beat with, like, no melodies or anything. And it's not even like, you know, footwork dance. It's just like, again, everything is, like, streamlined enough to where Dawn is really the star. And, you know, she nails it as always. So congratulations.
So yeah, this is a far cry from what I usually hear from Dawn. It's like it doesn't have one of those, you know, very badly inspirational song type of beats. Which, okay, I found this to be okay, and this is something that, you know, that might lift your spirits. Like we said, the sun ain't shining these days. I swear, I look around, all I see is hate. I see the ignorance all over your face. They say when things get tougher, they find your friends are. Don't worry about me. I'm better off without you. Why? Because I'm a dreamer. That's sort of uplifting, ain't it?
Yes, it is. And so that clears it for the Adult Sim stuff. And of course, we have our last song this week, which comes from the ever so famous, much more famous than any of us will ever hope to be, Ms. Mariah Carey, who is apparently dropping a new album sometime in the future. We don't exactly have a name or a release date. That's all to be determined. But we do have a new song from her to coincide with this announcement. This one being titled GTFO. And no, it's not a cutesy subversive acronym. It means pretty much exactly what you think it means. And this is where I'm kind of showing my hand that I don't think I could really tell you much about Mariah Carey from memory. Maybe there's some stuff that's slipping through, you know, the gray matter up here or everything. But, you know,
I probably could. You
listen to this song and, you know, it has like that very quiet, like, you know, toy box melody sort of. Her vocals are all very delicate and soft. There's like an elegant beauty to them that you'd probably expect from a Mariah Carey track. And all of that kind of gets really undercut the second she gets to the chorus, and she really does like delicately whisper, "Get the fuck out." It's weird, man. Like, this isn't like listening to like when CeeLo Green says like "fuck you" because you expect it. This would be like if Isabelle from Animal Crossing New Leaf said "fuck" at any point, you know?
Well, I can tell you a little bit. I can tell you a little bit about Mariah Carey based on stories I've heard about her time with my sister's father, who was a famous music producer. She's kind of a diva.
Really?
In and off the stage. Yeah. Or on and off the stage. And let's just say we don't talk about glitter.
Oh.
At all. It's like one of the worst things ever.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Since 2005, she has been on a really big resurgence. She was even married to Nick Cannon for about 8 years.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That
was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And, yeah, she's been on the up and up since then, doing some singles every so often, being part of Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve one year, which had some problems with her in-ear monitors. She was even a judge on American Idol for a cup of coffee.
She was.
Yeah, and now we have her 15th. That's 15th studio album coming soon. After this first single, it's okay. It's solid in its own right. A little too SoundCloud trappy for my liking, but, you know, whatever. You gotta go for what works, I guess. I can't help but draw a connection to Toni Braxton's album from this year, Sex and Cigarettes, and how this song from Mariah sounds kind of similar to the content from that album, both in terms of arrangement and in lyrics. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. Maybe we'll find out a little bit more when that second single drops next month.
Yeah.
Wait, she already scheduled the new single?
Okay, wow.
Yep, on October 5th.
Ah.
2 days after my birthday. All right. So yeah, this song is And it's all right. It's all right. Like I will say, I kind of chuckle a bit whenever she says, "I bet you get the fuck out," as she coos, which she still has that lovely voice. I mean, has she been in the game since like the 80s? Like, and she's still, you know.
Let me take a look. 1988. Yeah.
Oh damn. She been for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since you mentioned the SoundCloud style, the producer of this is 1895, who collabs with people such as Drake. So there's a chance for that.
What the hell? What the hell kind of name is 1895?
Let's see where he was born.
I much prefer the production styles of Babyface. Thank you very much.
I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but yeah, this one's it's aight. It's aight. Maybe we'll know more, you know, when that next single comes. Apparently 2 days after my birthday.
Indeed, we will. But that basically does it for all the music discussion and, you know, all the big stuff. So now we, of course, get into, rather prematurely than we usually do, the new album releases for the week of September 21st, 2018. Starting at the top, we have the newest album from prog metal veterans Voivod with The Wake. We have a new album from, extreme death grind act Aborted with Terror Vision. We have the second release this year from doomy sludge post-metaler Sumac with Love in Shadow. We have a new project from Joyce Manor with $1 Million to Kill Me. We have a new project from indie rockers Metric with Art of Doubt. Adult Swim Singles alumnus Ryan Hemsworth with his newest album Elsewhere. Speaking of Adult Swim, apparently they are collaborating with rapper Father to release a new mixtape with him called Awful Swim.
I want to feature a little house phone.
Yes, little house phone. Do you think he comes from that dimension in Rick and Morty where, like, all the people are phones?
Maybe.
Or maybe he's from the area where, you know, there's a screaming sun for 42 hours a day. I love that. I don't care. I love that bit.
Anyway, so a little bit earlier than Friday, on Wednesday, we're getting a new project from Jid with 151 Rum. We got a new album from Joe Bonamassa with Redemption. We got Slash, which I hear also features Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, called Living the Dream. There's a new posthumous live album from Prince, Piano and a Microphone 1983. We got a new project from Josh Groban called Bridges, so for all you people that do your album shopping at Starbucks, there you go. And last but certainly not least, two big hip-hop releases here. First up, we have the newest album from Brockhampton, which is apparently called Iridescence, which is going to be the first part of a new trilogy of albums called The Best Years of Our Lives, because Kevin Abstract has to keep toying with my expectations. Seriously, man, like, I'm going to listen to this album anyway, but, like, what is it you guys are doing behind the scenes? I want to know these things. I keep feeling confused and lost. But, you know, the album's probably going to be pretty good, so, you know, we'll see what happens from here. And this last one may have to be taken with a grain of salt. It looks like it's going to be happening, but there could always be some last-minute bullshit. So there is a very considerably valid possibility that this Friday, professional lizard impersonator Lil Wayne will finally unleash the Carter 5 onto the populace after a whole bunch of legal bullshit with Young Money and Cash Money. There you go, for those that were expecting this holy grail of bars about, you know, bad metaphors for eating out.
And then comes Birdman to stop it all, because, I don't know, Birdman will take your money.
He'll just rub his hands evilly while staring out the window.
Show me some respect!
But, yeah, that basically does it for this week, so time to clean house and get the hell out of here. So, Alex, where can they find you on the internet?
As always, Aura of Azure, where I'll most likely post my Clone Hero progress updates and bitch about how terrible Raw is every week, because my god, this show is terrible. Ugh.
Mark, what about you?
As always, on Twitter, Manhabit Media, and on my site, the Manhabit One at type1.wordpress.com. Hey, I reviewed something the past week. It was My Game, which you can watch on Crunchyroll, and Verb, which, well, technically you can watch on, you get it.
Indeed. As for me, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and CuriousCat at Rob Barracuda. Email me, robert@surrealresolution.com if you got questions, comments, concerns, and offers and stuff. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on Google Play and iTunes. New audio-only episodes go up every Wednesday. Trying to work on the video backlog, so maybe expect that up by the weekend on the official YouTube channel of Surreal Resolution. Just subscribe and hit the bell tab so you're notified when shit goes up there. Follow us on Twitter at SurrealReso, like us on Facebook, visit the website surrealresolution.com, and find this podcast on decibelboost.surrealresolution.com. Also listen to Podcast O&A, which has anime content, you weebs.
Yeah, no new episodes this last weekend because, the storm, but we're going to try for this weekend to catch back up.
Indeed. Be sure to keep up with our written content as well. Album reviews, weekly episode anime reviews, all that good stuff. Be sure to jump into our Discord chat if you want to keep an eye on my chocolate milk while I go to the bathroom. I can't trust Mark. Not after last time. And shout out to the producer, Mr. E, for graciously letting me use his music for this podcast. Links to his shit down in the description. Well, that'll about do it for episode 98. We'll, of course, see you next week. And until next time, look, I just have my fingers crossed that no hurricane hits here, because I got shit to do and money to make, okay?
Yep, been there.
My cat is staring at me.